Hello and welcome to Morning Brew Time. It's that time again. Go ahead, get your coffee, juice, water, tea, whatever you're wanting to sip on as we brew on the subject at hand. I am Annette, and I believe that we can thrive through life together, one brew at a time. I tell you, it's so much going on in life, in our community, in this world. This is our time, our space that we set aside to just slow down and reflect. So let's just breathe for a moment. Will you breathe with me? We need to just take a breath. Whew, let it out. Right? Let's take one more breath together. Inhale. Whew, and let it out. Yes, and let's just go ahead and take a sip. I've got my coffee. She's extra good today. I love her. She's so soothing. I love it. Love it, love it. So glad to be with you all today. This is where we get to decide what's next in our life as we brew together. And I love brewing with you all. Today we're brewing on your life is a receipt of what you prioritize. Have you ever thought about that? I have. And I know this is the group, this is the family to bring this to. Our life is a receipt of what we prioritize. I've been brewing on that a little bit, and I have some things that I want us to go through together that I believe is going to help us in prioritizing our life. See, we get to create our life, right? We get to create it through priorities. When I say prioritize life, I mean what you do daily. What do you prioritize in your life daily? Creating routines for your life is a great ground. It's great for grounding us, and it's great for unfolding purpose. You would be surprised in the things that you prioritize and create for yourself will also bring purpose. First thing in the morning, when you wake up, before you get out of bed, what do? What is the first thing you do? Well, for me, the first thing I do is say, hello, God, or I might say, good morning, Father. And then I sit up and get out of bed, That's my routine in the morning. I say hello to God. I say hello to the Creator. What is your routine for when you get up in the morning? I say this to God because it's simple and it's effective for me. And what it does, it directs my whole being, my entire person toward God, toward the Creator. And for me, I believe that it's very, very important to start my day out like that, because when I turn my direction toward Him, then it causes me to be in tune with Him for the day. If I skip that, and if I don't have a moment in the day where I'm recognizing Him, right, my day may be a little bit off, especially starting out. I have to, okay, Annette, you missed making God a priority. So that's how it is for me. So we're going to just talk about some things we can do in our life, prioritize in our life that will make our life better and give it more purpose. Okay, I'm excited about this. And I tell you what, you may want to get a pen and paper to write some things down. There's several things, several areas we're going to go through in our life, and we're here to help one another. This is for me, and it's for whoever else wants to hear and maybe, try it out, incorporate it into your life. We're here to encourage one another, okay? So while you're getting a pen and paper, I'm going to take another sip. Ooh, yummy. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is brewing on how do you take care of yourself? Yeah, let's start there. How do you take care of yourself? Do you have a regimen for getting up in the morning and going to sleep at night? Sometimes people don't have that. And I will say, I didn't have an intentional regimen all my life. I didn't even know it was important. I just, you do the norm. You get up, brush your teeth, wash your face, eat something, get ready for work, get ready for school. You just do your norm. At night, take your bath because you need to, you have to, and you go to bed. There was no routine. There was no regimen that really helped me. So first, think about a healthy routine to get your body to relax. So we're going to start there. I'm not going to start with getting up. I'm going to start with, what do you do to get your body ready to relax and sleep at night? That's important. I believe it is. And I'm saying that because I've created one for myself now. And my body loves me for it. Right? So think about it. What do you do to get your body relaxed? A healthy routine, right? That gets you ready for rest at night. Now, I have a couple of suggestions. If you are watching TV in the bed at night and you think, I'm going to watch until I go to sleep, I would encourage you to curtail that routine. I don't believe that it's really good for you as far as rest. It doesn't really get your body ready to rest at night. And let's just say you might be the person that scrolls on the phone, looking at different things on social media. You might be laying in the bed doing that. I would encourage you to change that, because what's happening is that your mind is continuing to be stimulated, right? And so it's not going to make your body rest. It's not going to get your body to start resting. It's not going to say to your body, okay, we need to shut everything down so that we can have peace, so that we could rest. If you want to watch TV, watch it in another room. If you want to scroll on social media, do it before you get in the bed. Right? We're not saying it's bad, but I believe that when you do it, especially at night, is very important. I would suggest that your room is as dark as you can stand it. Maybe some may need a little night light. That's fine. I understand. But it needs to be quiet, right? Or there are some sounds that you can find that are peaceful sounds that you can play. Um, I found one that was one time I needed it. That was the sound of the ocean, and it was awesome. And you can find some that'll play for like 30 minutes or so, or that might be enough time to get you to sleep. But I guarantee, one suggestion I give you, I guarantee you will go to sleep. Start praying and talking to God. Start talking to him and letting him talk to you. When you start praying, you're laying there in your bed and you're communicating with him, I guarantee you'll go to sleep. You will relax talking to him and listening for his voice, and I tell you, you'll go to sleep. Those are just suggestions. You might find other ways, but I felt like that was really important. Having that regimen that tells your body it's time to rest. Okay? Plan what you do for these areas. Okay? So we're going to go through some areas in life that you need to plan. All right? The first one is physical. We're planning, we're prioritizing, and we're planning. For your physical life, think about exercising. Think about the food you eat. I know that is something you hear over and over and over. However, it is important, right? It's important. I'm not saying overdo it, because sometimes a lot of information can become overwhelming. Simplify it for yourself, right? It could be, hey, I need to just make sure every day I get 30 minutes of cardio in. Start there, something very simple, but you've got to do something for your body, right? To get the blood flow going, right? To open up and release lymph nodes, just to make sure everything is just flowing through and out of your body. Food, let's just say, hey, I'm so used to eating out. I'm going to start eating in more, making things for myself more, but simple meals. It doesn't have to be casseroles and baking pound cakes and, it can be very, very simple. All right, well, let's just start planning. What about clothing? Think about it. Some of us probably buy too much. You don't have to overdo your wardrobe and everything is new, right? And then some of us, we may not update ourselves, right? We might say, I've got a white shirt. I don't need to go buy another one. I get it. But sometimes we may need to just update ourselves. Maybe you might have something from the 1940s. Yeah, let it go. Get something fresh and new for yourself. It doesn't have to be the whole wardrobe, just one piece at a time. But think about it. Sometimes we just don't think about it. So that's enough for physical, but just start to prioritize those areas of your physical life. Spiritual, prayer, very important. Talking with God every day throughout the day. The Bible says pray without ceasing. And for me, that means I just talk to God all day long. I mean, he's always listening. He's always there, right? So that's important I think it's important. Reading, right? Reading the Word of God, reading books, getting more knowledge regarding our spiritual life, listening, You may be a listener. I like listening to books, right? Listen to keep yourself connected and keep yourself centered toward God. All right, so we're talking about our spiritual life there. Let's move on to mental. Research some exercises that help you create emotional intelligence. You may have heard that before, that phrase, emotional intelligence. But I believe that's important to prioritize our mental health. What would you do in certain situations? Really thinking about it, thinking it through. I like to call it creating emotional soundness. Emotional soundness. You may ask yourself the question, how will I handle joy? Everybody doesn't handle things the same way. How will I handle love? Have you ever met someone that didn't know how to receive love? I have. Maybe they didn't know that they needed to think about, how do I handle love when people want to do things for me? And, how do I handle compliments? How do I handle this? You may not have really thought about it. So I bring it up because to me it's part of our mental health, how we're handling things emotionally, right? How do you handle unexpected news? How do you handle stress? How do you handle anger? All of this is a part of our emotional intelligence, our emotional soundness. So now let's move on to, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but this is what I'm calling it. Dream work. Prioritizing dream work. And you may wonder, what do you mean by that, Annette? Dream work. I'm saying allowing your imagination to flow and make notes of what you are dreaming about. We're talking about dreams, your imagination, your vision, and write those things down. Dream work. Dream work. Make plans, whether it's simple as like, you know what? I'm going to the movies, or I'm going to the museum, or you know what? I wanted to go to this new thing that they have opened. Plan it. Prioritize it. These things seem simple, but really it helps us to stop being stagnant in life. There might be a puzzle. I thought about it. You heard about that man that did like thousands and thousands of pieces of puzzles, of this big puzzle. And I said to myself, I hadn't done a puzzle in years. It's been a long time. I'm going to get me some puzzles. I'm going to prioritize that. You might want to plan a vacation or start a business. Whatever it is, whatever the dream is, whatever the plan is, prioritize it and do it. Don't just dream about it. Do it. Okay? We're going to continue to talk about this because I believe that some may have some challenges in dreaming because as a child, maybe you heard, stop all that daydreaming. Have you heard that? Were you that kid like me? You sit to do a chore. You start, cleaning up your room, and you sit on your bed and you start just thinking. You just start You start daydreaming. And you can stop all that daydreaming. Sometimes, yes, I get it. Our parents were supposed to, help us to do chores and, help us in different areas of our life. But there are times where, as a child, you need the time to daydream. Children need to imagine. Let that imagination flow. It's important. You know why? Because at that time, you're so open to new ideas. As a child, you're so open to vision and imagination. And it becomes so real to you as a kid. And it's a good thing. If you have a child, if you have a teenager, you have a young adult, encourage them to dream, to have vision, right? Because life has not hit them yet to make them afraid to do so. Now, I believe that, adults didn't know what they were saying to kids. They didn't know what they were saying to stop us from being so imaginative. That's just how we're supposed to be. They didn't know that it could stop really the dream inside of a person. They may just stop. But I'm here to wake it up. I'm here to encourage us. Start back dreaming. Let your creativity flow, because dreaming is like a muscle, right? It's like a muscle. And the more that you dream, the more that you imagine, the more it becomes real, and it builds your hope and it builds faith, right? Faith is the substance of things hoped for. And faith is the evidence of things that's not seen. It builds your faith. It could be that this is why, as adults, it's a challenge to dream. Maybe something happened. Maybe some words were said to you. Maybe there was a situation out of your control that caused you to say, there's no use for me to dream. My dreams never come to pass. People don't believe when I tell them something I want to do. I understand. I understand that. I remember this man, he was asked a question. What are your goals in life? What do you want to do? And the man genuinely looked and he said, I don't have any goals. I was astounded. I really, really was thrown back by his answer. But you could tell that he really meant it. And actually, he said this is the first time anybody's really asked him. And he said, I don't have any. I don't have any goals for my life. And I thought to myself, wow, I didn't know that could happen. I didn't know that you could live and not have something you aspire to or want to do, or he had nothing. I don't know his background and I don't know what happened in his life, but something just sucked it out of him. That childlike imagination, dreaming and hoping, right? Having faith for. He just thought, I'm just going to live life like normal. I'm just going to go to work, work for years, and die. He really had no plans for his life. And that helped me to realize that everybody doesn't think like me. And that was okay, because I want to help if I can. I want to encourage you if you're like that. Maybe you may not know where it stopped, because naturally we are made to imagine, to dream. It's natural for us, but somewhere down the line, something happened to snuff it out, to take it out of you. But I speak life into you, and I speak life into your imagination to dream again. To dream again. I encourage you today to do the dream work, to let the creativity flow. And also, I want you to know it's not silly. I know sometimes kids, when they're thinking of things, some people will just put stuff down. They don't realize what they're doing. But they may say, oh, just go sit down, child. You're always thinking about something, right? Maybe that happened and you just stopped thinking. You stopped imagining, having imagination, stop dreaming. You know, maybe they were tired, they just didn't want to hear it. You know, or maybe something happened to that adult and they didn't have any dreams or visions for their life. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened. But I'm speaking to you today. It's not silly. It's not childish. It's not childish to dream. Maybe somebody told you that. Maybe you felt that because you shared something with somebody and they didn't receive it the way you wanted. It's not childish. There is no need for you to be embarrassed about your dreams, about setting priorities for yourself. We're not going to let anyone belittle our dream. Do you hear me? We're not going to let anyone belittle our dreams. When you dream, you are prioritizing vision. Vision. It's an inward vision. You're prioritizing that. See, we are like God. God created us to be like Him. And think about it. God had the vision to create this world and create humanity. And He gave us the same ability. I hope that helps. Now, our last one is be responsible. Let's brew on that for just a moment. Be responsible. Get things done. Prioritize responsibility. When it comes to taking care of your body, yes. And there's a list of things, right? There's a list of things that goes with that, but just think about a few things. Hygiene. Your hygiene. I'm not going to tell you how, but you can research everything today. But let's take care of our bodies. Your skin care. Your hair care, right? I mean, there's just a lot of things. Making sure you go to the doctor. Your annual visits. The dentist, the eye doctor. taking care of yourself, prioritizing it. It's important. Let's get it done. Let's be responsible. And I have a challenge for you. This last thing in prioritizing our life. Here's the challenge. Each day, challenge yourself to do at least 2 acts of kindness. 2 acts of kindness. And when I say that, it's not something that you normally do. These acts of kindness is something that you have to think about and you're intentional. Okay? You have to think about it and you're intentional. And so you're challenging yourself to do at least 2. You can do more, but at least 2. And it has to be someone you know and for someone you don't know. Wow. I love that. I love that. I'm challenging us, myself, and I'm challenging you, my friends. Let's do that. Prioritizing, reaching out, and doing something intentional for people. Someone you don't know and someone you do know. 2 a day, right? That's the challenge. And it's going to really start to work something within you. I believe you're going to be surprised at what happens within inside of you. This kindness, this act of kindness, is going to bring joy inside of you, but it's going to be a different kind of joy. The joy that you're making that positive difference in someone else's life. And also, it's going to solidify the meaning and purpose of your life. I hope you accept the challenge. I accept it. I accept it for myself. I always enjoy brewing with you all. You all are just so much fun. And I enjoy coming and meeting with you all the time. I can't wait for us to come together again, but we are coming to a close on this one. I hope that you were encouraged today. I know we covered a lot of different areas, but you know, that's life. And we take time with our life to prioritize it. And when we prioritize, we create the life that we want, the life that we need. So I hope that you are encouraged to do that today. I want to pray that you all will experience love, joy, happiness, peace, safety, and protection. If you haven't experienced this today, or if you haven't seen it, that's okay. It's coming your way because I'm praying that for you. And also I pray that your week is full of prosperity in health and in wealth. Until next time, my friends, I love you all. And I pray that your life is blessed. Have a great one. Until next time.